Hi, and welcome to the Zen Supermom podcast. Today is one of the special occasions where I will not be here just doing my preaching and speech and talking to you all by myself because I have a very special guest here. I'm already looking at her, but you cannot see her yet because I want to tell you why she's special and why I decided to take her into this podcast with me today and why I want you to meet her. Because she is not only one of my first program clients ever, so we know each other already a little while back. Not only she's an amazing inspiration as a woman, but also she decided to take on role now inside the Zen Supermom team. So from a client, she's turning into a team member. And this is the reason why I want you to meet her, especially if you already are or are thinking about joining us inside the Zen Supermom program. Hi, Supermom or Superdad. Alena here, your mommy tantrum specialist and the founder of the Zen Supermom system. And me and my team have helped hundreds of moms and dads start setting healthy boundaries with calm. And this is the first parenting podcast that is not about your kids, that shows you why none of the parenting techniques helped you stop yelling at your kids and how to control your emotions from jumping out so that you can be the safe, loving parent you wish you had growing up. This is the Zen Supermom podcast. So, without any further ado, let me introduce you to Ellen Schell. And I'm going to put her on the screen so that you can see her as well. Hi, Ellen.
Good morning.
Hi, so happy to have you here. And I know this conversation is meant to be to really share with the moms and dads who you are, but it already starts. This is already a first great opportunity to start explaining a little bit about your story because I realized that you speaking up on a video and even sharing your name publicly, that's already a big achievement, right? We should celebrate that. Do you want to share a little about that?
Yeah, until recently I was Vino's Czarina online on Facebook because I didn't want people to find me. I didn't want anyone from work to be able to find me. So I've always kind of hidden behind a shield. And for me to be doing this video is far out of my comfort zone, but I'm happy to be here and I love this program and what it's done for me.
So wonderful. Thank you so much. And if we could start at the beginning, because you are not our typical client,
No.
and yet you decided to dive in. So could you share a little bit? What is it that makes you so special?
Well, no, I am definitely not the typical Zen Supermom member, but I was upfront about that from the beginning. Um, Years ago, I took a yoga class and got on a mailing list. And fast forward about 3 or 4 years to 2021, I was on a mailing list for one of the speakers at Elena's Zen Supermom conference summit. And I loved that summit. I learned a lot, and at the time, and still am, I'm a nanny, so I was doing a lot of mom kind of things anyway, and so there were some great speakers in that summit, but in the last day, the tables were turned, and someone interviewed Alina, and I loved the interview. I just felt like we connected. Her story resonated. I loved her mission of what she was doing and where she was coming from. So through that, I got a one-on-one session. I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but in that session, I remember Elena telling me that these walls can be broken down. And as much as I wanted to believe her, I really didn't know if it was true or not. But I felt like before all of this happened to me, that the voices in my head, I was broken, that no one else had those kind of voices. So just to know that my story is just a normal story, everyone has those voices. But then so I started doing the work, and then when she started the mental health group, mental fitness group, and I learned about putting names to all the saboteurs and the judge, and getting in touch with my inner child. She was right. The walls just came tumbling down, and so much in my life just fell in place. And from that, it's just been wonderful. And I just I keep growing and learning better ways to stay calm. But I haven't had a bad day in a very long time. I'll have maybe a few bad hours. I'll get upset about something, but I can revert back and get my balance and get my calm, get my peace back. And it's just wonderful. I am just very happy these days. So it's been great.
And this is just a testimonial to how far you've come from trying to be like completely invisible and hiding behind even Facebook fake name into being on the camera and on Zoom and sharing your name.
I was a total pleaser. I still do a lot for other people, but I do what I want to do and it feels good. I don't expect anything in return. I don't feel like I have to do things for other people, but it gives me a lot of joy. So, but it's just coming from it from a different perspective. It truly has been life-changing.
And well done. That's a testimonial to you, how much work you have done. But maybe for moms or dads who are listening there and thinking about like what those walls were, because you were mentioning like you had walls, and I remember you were calling it even like demons, those voices in your head. So for anybody who is also now struggling with their people pleasing and things, voices in their head. So could you share more about like what was now that you look back, what was the biggest challenge that at the beginning you didn't even know about?
I really felt like I was not valid for who I was. It was only for what I did. And I realized through the work that I did that started when I was a tiny, tiny child. And I always felt like I had to be the best. I had to push harder and excel at everything in order to get that recognition, which never happened. I mean, I was never it was never enough. And all I was doing was just burning out. I wasn't motivated for the right reasons. I was just trying to earn I was trying to earn a reason for somebody to like me.
Mm,
And, I mean, to approve of me, or I felt like if people knew the real me, they wouldn't like me. Everything was, and I didn't realize it, but everything was a mirror to reflect away from me, just to show this person that does all of these things and achieve. I was always the golden child. I was always the best at work. I was always did the top, and it all came from from when I was one of four daughters trying to, and I was different. All my sisters had red hair. I had brown hair, and I never felt like I just fit in. It was like, so I always felt like I had to prove that I could fit in.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately a story that I hear so often. Like 99% of women who come to talk to me, they're talking about this exactly. I never felt I was worthy enough, just the way I was. I always felt I had to work harder, change myself. I never fit in, never quite good enough. So,
And I never realized that. I didn't know I was doing all of those things. I mean, who knew? But when I think back on it, that's where it all started. And through work with my inner child and yeah, the walls just when I found out life is not a competition. You're only competing with yourself to be your best genuine self. It doesn't matter about the rest. If you do that, all the cards fall in place and it is what it is, and you're happy where you are. So
yeah.
there's always someone more this, more that, but you are who you are. And that's when I can started to accept myself being perfectly imperfect, it's just, the people that I had problems with, they didn't change, but our relationships have changed because I changed. My perception changed. The way it made a big difference in a lot of relationships.
I love this. Could you could you remember some specific example from your past? Because I see this and I hear this very often. There are lots of moms who come to my free trainings and they are there to change their kids or complain about the partners, husbands, wives who are not doing enough, complaining about their parents, what they did not do well raising them. So it's always about like kind of being locked and stuck in the
Mhm.
situation. Like, yes, I need help, but they need help even more. What should I do for them to change? And kind of feeling stuck because other people won't move. Can you give an example when you realized even the fact that you started working on yourself, the entire dynamic and relationship changed?
Yeah, I think the people that I had the most problems with before, in retrospect, were the people who had boundaries for themselves. And I didn't have boundaries, but I didn't, because I would inconvenience, if there was a situation where we were going to do something and, there was a group that, without going to a lot of details, but I inconvenienced myself a lot to do what I needed to do for my part for this group. Um, But then other people would say, well, I can't do it now because I've got, whatever. And I would get so upset and I couldn't understand why can they say no and I can't? Why am I inconveniencing myself? Because they're saying no inconvenience me more. And I never could understand why I get so upset. And I remember one of our first conversations, she said, you have a problem. You have a lot of people that you have conflicts with or whatever. And it's these people that have these boundaries. And I didn't know that's what the problem was then. And so I started establishing my boundaries. And when it's like, okay, that's fine, but I can't, or no, or gee, I hope you can make this happen because I'm not going to be available. And the world didn't fall apart.
So, how do you feel about saying no now?
Oh, I love it. It's like a great word. I mean,
I
I
love
would
it.
say no before, but I would feel guilty about it.
That's
And
it.
I wouldn't always say no. And because I was raised, if there's something to be done, then you do that. You don't ever put yourself first. There's always things to be done. That's selfish. But yeah, I can say no now.
Exactly, because this is the classic female generational developmental trauma. Never say no. Never, don't you dare putting yourself first. How selfish is that? Yeah, this is exactly what girls are taught. So, congratulations for breaking that. And now it's even more amazing because you're a nanny of two, right? And they're a boy and a girl. So,
Yeah,
you're teaching the new generation, like, no, no, no.
they're incredible. But children are definitely our best teachers because they are in total sage, like you've said before, that they come out of the womb asking for what they want. They cry when they're hungry, they don't have any, and if they get upset about something, they don't hold grudges. It's like they express what they need to say. But I've definitely learned a lot about myself through their being looking through their eyes and not wanting to break them.
Oh my
So,
goodness. I wish we could find a nanny like this. Yeah.
uh, I feel privileged too because they were my motivation, to do a lot of this work. I wouldn't have been in the mom groups. I wouldn't have been at the Supermom Zen conference. I mean, it's just such a strange road that's got me to where I am right now. But yeah, they've been great teachers.
That's for sure. And you're now turning into becoming their excellent teacher and role model on regulating their own emotions, not dumping any of these generational expectations onto them, but letting them grow up free, feeling safe to be who they were born to be, really, without
Yeah,
trying to push them, squish them into any
yeah,
like expectations and yeah.
yeah. And they have a great whole support system. I mean, their parents, and they're very lucky children. So, and I feel lucky to be a part of them too. So it's a
Excellent.
win-win. Yeah.
And since then, the thing is that you just keep going, huh? It's like we started in some of those one-to-ones, then you stayed in the program, you did the mental fitness program. So now we've been basically like staying in touch and working together for the last 2 years, huh? Isn't
Yep.
it? I think it will soon be 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yes.
When you did the started the mental fitness with I forgot his name. Um the mental fitness
Yes, mental
is
fitness program from Shirzad, you mean?
yeah,
The
yeah.
basics, yeah.
Right. And then I kept on with the mental fitness group, and it's been wonderful meeting women from all over the world who have such different stories, but yet we're all so much alike. I mean, like the Easter eggs that you say, and I never, rarely do I attend a live call because of my schedule, but I don't think I've missed a single recording, because there are always nuggets to be found. And there's always things to be, for you to think about that you've never thought about before that resonate and can help you in maybe a different problem or similar, but just a new way of thinking about things, which is great. So yeah.
And this, for those who are watching or listening, is exactly the reason why Ellen is now joining us inside the Zen Supermom team, because not only she keeps on working on herself and still taking the children to two little teachers she has to keep improving, but she stays connected with the group, even though there's the time difference and your work schedule. You're always super active inside our client Facebook group, always very supportive in helping other moms and encouraging them and inspiring them, always replying from what we call in mental fitness the sage perspective, which is the opposite of the trauma reaction, because you have managed to heal it in yourself, so you're inspiring others to make that healing come up in themselves too. And this, my dear Zen Supermoms listening or watching, is the reason why Ellen is becoming our community manager. It will be a new role that I created just for her. It did not exist before. Ellen will be responsible for our communication inside our client Facebook group. Because honestly, I have to do what I preach. We have right now more than 100 clients inside the group. And because I am putting a lot of value in individual contact and in people feeling seen and heard and supported, it's not just one of these mass of several millions of people inside and you're like a no name and nobody cares about you. No, this is a high touch, high connection community. And in order to be able to do it all and for everybody, I realized I need to be asking for help. So this is how Ellen will be helping me in making sure that everybody in that Facebook group, whomever comes up with and is sharing any struggles or asking questions, asking for pointers and just getting unstuck or unlocking the next level of their breakthrough, I feel very confident and very comforted to know that Ellen can step in and can take off some of these, what I've been doing all the way until now. Ellen will be taking it over and she will be communicating with our clients from this new perspective, not just one of the participants, but in her new role as a community manager. So I feel so grateful that you chose to accept my invitation, because that was not just like open hiring process or selection process. That's a role that I offered to Ellen and Ellen only. If she would have said no, I would have had to continue doing it all by myself. So thank you so much, Ellen, for agreeing and for taking on this new opportunity and challenge, I can imagine, at the same time, because I'd already started with you having to change your Facebook name and becoming visible exactly and doing this podcast interview. So maybe this will be an interesting question that I did not plan to ask you. I didn't plan anything out of this interview. But what was in it for you that was so valuable that is even worth all of this trouble for you? Why did you say yes to the role and to my invitation to join us inside the team?
Twofold. One is a selfish motivation because the more I interact with this group, the more I continue to grow. And I love growing in this manner. And secondly is I love to give back, and because I've been a part of the group for so long, no, I don't know everything. No, my life is not perfect, but I can offer a perspective of what's to come. And I am so proud of the people inside the group for two reasons. Most of them are communicating in a different language than their native language, and that is so above me. I have enough trouble with English some days, but starting this journey and doing this work at a much younger age than I am, you've got so many wonderful years ahead of you. I mean, I love where I am now, but I can imagine if I'd have been where here 30 years ago, what a different path my life, some things that could have been different. Not that I regret my life at all, but it just I wouldn't have had a lot of the burnouts that I've had in the past. And so it's a way to give back, but a way to continue my growth also. So it's a win-win.
Amazing. You see why I chose her? She's perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ellen. I'm not going to keep the spotlight shining on you for too much longer, not to make you feel too uncomfortable. I think whomever was listening or watching up till now, they got pretty good idea of what you are about and why I chose you and why I'm so happy that you said yes. So
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
And thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to it.
Excellent. And dear moms and dads, if you're already inside the group, then at least this was your introduction to Ellen. You will understand who is it that is helping you inside our Facebook group. And if you're thinking about joining, then at least you know, like this is how much we care about people we work with. This is not a no-name, huge mass program. We are going to get pretty personal with you too, and this is why it's worth it. Breakthroughs like this, what Ellen was describing. So thank you so much, Ellen. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your courage to come up and share here publicly.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much, and take care, Supermom, Superdad. See you next time. Bye.